I
Wow. Wow.
I
Wow.
don't know how to
It
start this show.
happened.
It
I
happened.
do. Can I start
Well,
the show?
you can, but let me just say something.
Yeah.
I am I am not in shock. I am not it is not overwhelming as I said. It is more just like I am at peace. And you know what,
Right.
OG? I was at peace the whole day. I
Yeah.
honestly was never stressed about this game. You were stressed.
I
Everybody on
was.
my timeline and Twitter was stressed. I
Yeah.
was not stressed. And
I
I'm
was
not
stressed.
exaggerating. No, there is something different about this team, and there's something different about Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And I knew it is like his calmness makes me calm. I saw a tweet
Right.
earlier today that Joe Burrow is the kind of guy who, if he had like a bobcat in the
Yeah.
passenger seat of his car and he was driving, he wouldn't
Yeah.
flinch. Like he would just be
Right.
very calmly driving. And that was such a great analogy. That is
Yeah.
the feeling I have about Joe Burrow, and he
Yeah.
did it. He did it.
Donkeys are like that, by the way. As farm animals go, donkeys calm down the other farm animals. Did you know that?
Well, I don't
Every
want to call
farm has
Joe
a
Burrow
donkey
a
because the donkey calms down the
donkey,
other animals.
but I wouldn't
Well,
want to
he's
get kicked by Joe Burrow. You know,
no,
I mean, yeah, I mean he's got the
but
powerful.
let me do this my way then, because I have something to
Okay.
say.
Yes.
So, hello, welcome to
Hi.
Bengal fandom. Maybe you are brand new to the show. Maybe you are brand new to being a Bengals fan. I don't know. Maybe you jumped on board when you heard about Joe Burrow. Maybe you're from LS. You're an LSU fan. Maybe you like the colors. They have the best uniforms in the NFL. Let me tell you where we've been and where we're going. Okay? Let me tell you where we've been. It was 30 years ago,
31,
1990, 31 years ago, 1990, when we last
91,
won the playoff game,
1991.
in 1991. And before that, there was a heart wrenching loss in the Super Bowl. And that's
Right.
where that year is where the phrase "who they" came up with that you right now see on the screen. That
Yeah.
year, the whole nation was in love with the Cincinnati Bengals. There were dances and all kinds of things, but it was heartbreak after heartbreak.
Yeah.
And then for 30 years, a drought.
Well,
And
let
we
us
went through
explain.
and
Yeah.
we went through days of having quarterbacks who were prima donnas, who didn't want to be part of the team. And
Well,
then we went through the
look,
long,
hey,
long
hey,
Andy
we don't need
Dalton
to
era.
focus. Yeah. But really
And now, and
what
now,
it came down to was after Paul Brown passed, we didn't have what it took to build a great franchise. And
right.
then we have the hero, the man from Southern Ohio himself, the
Yes.
guy with the talent, with the athleticism, with the
Yes.
smarts, with the attitude, with the
Right.
competitiveness, with the insanity
The
to
insanity
win and to destroy you.
and to
He
believe.
comes in and he saves our franchise. He
Okay,
changes everything. You
but
see those free agent signings. You see the
yeah,
Mike Hilton signing. You see the
right.
Trey Hendrick. You see this signing. That is him too. You see the way the defense, they give up a big play, two big plays, then they come back and have a strip sack. That is the confidence a Joe Burrow, like a Tom Brady, instills in a team.
And I'm with you on that. I am. But I want to,
That is the
I still
difference.
want to
And that is why our history has changed forever. It's
forever.
changed forever. The
But
Patriots weren't a good franchise before
no,
Brady. You know,
no.
I mean, this is, it's different. Everything is different
But
now.
Daddy, let me just continue with my history here. Because then in this Andy Dalton era, we had a great coach, Marvin Lewis. I'm thinking about him tonight. I
Yeah,
dedicate this win to him because he didn't have that.
that
But
is fair.
really, honestly, Marvin Lewis was a great coach, and he brought a lot of
Yeah,
happiness to the Cincinnati Bengals. And since
yeah,
2015 was his coaching era, was the last time we were in it. Let's
yeah,
acknowledge that. But even though I love Marvin,
right.
with Marvin, this team had some problems other than Andy Dalton.
Yeah,
We would get
but I mean,
rattled,
yeah.
bedazzled.
But
The
let's
defense would
you're
make sloppy
focusing. Look,
mistakes. Every
you
time they were
okay,
calling a
okay.
foul, every time they were calling
Yeah,
a foul, I
yeah.
almost always knew it was on the Raiders, even when I didn't see the play.
That's a
Because
good
this team
point.
is running clean.
Discipline. Yeah.
It's like an
Let us.
electric car
It
versus
is.
a gas guzzler.
Well, let's just recap what happened for
Yeah.
anybody who didn't see the game. So, if you look at the game, basically what happened is Bengals race to an early lead. They're cruising, but they don't convert on some turnovers, some great field position, and they settle for some field goals. And the Raiders, like we expected, very resilient team, been through a
Yeah.
lot this year. They come back.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, I'm a little bit my voice is
You
I'm a
can
little bit under the
you
weather,
can
but
cry.
no,
Men
it's
can
okay.
cry, Daddy-o.
Actually, no, I think the problem is I got too close to someone who is vaccinated And I know the
Right.
vaccine contains some
Yeah.
virus particles. So I
Of
think I
course.
picked
Of
up some of
course.
that. Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
so what happened is that basically they weren't converting. You could say they weren't aggressive enough. I don't know on fourth down. But then then the defense, we lost Trey
Right.
Hendrickson. We had problems tackling. Very predictably, we had problems getting to Waller, the tight end, and they got back in the game. And our running game just wasn't working, as many said. This defense, yes, Joe Mixon has a lot of success against the Raiders, but tonight the Raiders, like they've been on this recent streak, they were very good at the stopping the run. And by the
They
way,
really
our
have been.
guests, we had the guests the preview last week, and they said that. They said, you can't run against this defense.
No.
So we couldn't run. And Jamar Chase was brilliant. He was the star of the offense, really. He had 116 yards. I think he was fantastic. Uzama had some huge plays, but it slowed down, and so people were nervous. But really, we knew that even if the Raiders scored, that Joe Burrow, he was just. I mean, he was determined. He was very determined.
He
The
was
team was
determined, and
just yeah.
honestly, this game he threw one of those passes that's going to go down in Bengals history. It was a
Yes,
pass when he's running. He was running outside to the out of the bounds, and on
right.
his right off of his foot. Almost, you know what? It almost reminded me of like ballet, perfectly timed, right off of his foot. Pow to Boyd, touchdown.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
that was the turning point of the game. I think it's very clear. And
right.
then you have Evan McPherson, let's not forget, making every
McPherson,
field goal.
perfect. Yeah,
You don't give you
fantastic.
people always just talk about kickers when they miss. But
Yeah,
but he hit every one of those field goals, and field
yeah,
goals were part of the win. And let's
yeah,
also give credit to our own Zach Taylor,
yeah.
because it's Zach Taylor who put all this together. Yes, without Joe Burrow, it's not possible, but the team coalesces, it works together, and the defense did
Right.
marvelous despite having missing pieces there at
Well,
the end.
I hope Trey Hendrickson is okay. We
I
need
do.
him
We
for the
need him.
next game. We need him
Yeah,
for the next game. Absolutely, we need him. He he
yeah,
he is our pass rush. I hate to say it, but
yeah.
I mean he's a pass rush. But like you pointed out to me, we were talking on the phone,
Right.
and that last drive for the Raiders, there was a couple of egregious
Yeah,
holds
yeah. I
against the Bengals.
saw
So
him.
they were
The
getting
refs
pressure.
did not.
The refs weren't calling them,
No,
and the broadcasters didn't say much. So
no.
very sad, very sad.
Yeah,
I think you call them what, the fake news refs is what you
no, no.
call them.
That's you. That's you.
They're
That's what you say.
but
I don't
yeah,
use I don't use
not fair.
fascist language.
They were not
But
fair and
yeah,
balanced.
I think maybe because the momentum of the game was such, the refs were just not focused, or they wanted to let a few things go because the Raiders had already had so many calls against them. But
Yeah.
yeah, right at the end there was some holding that wasn't even noticed or talked about. Some pretty egregious holding. I mean, there was people waving their hands like, "Look, I'm being held." But then, boom, you get that interception by Pratt, and what an ending
Beautiful.
to the game!
Jermaine Pratt, man. I mean, that has got to feel good.
Because
That is almost
we
like,
did.
yeah.
I feel like the Bengals don't get a lot of interceptions. I'm always waiting for them, and we don't get them. And when we get them, it feels
Well,
good.
that was a timely interception. I
And
think
Derek Carr is a star,
yeah.
so
But
that's
look, I
why
think
there's
the monkey is off the back. The
yeah,
Bengals were not letting loose.
no,
And I'm not talking about they didn't have chili before the game or anything like that.
no,
I'm saying they weren't playing, a lot of the players, they weren't, you can tell in big games and clutch games and, clutch scenarios and playoff games, a lot of players, they're not themselves. Not that they're
no.
playing poorly. They're just not moving as confidently. Jamar Chase was. Jamar Chase was
Jamar
being
Chase
his
was
normal self. Yeah.
amazing.
But what I'm saying
Burrow
is,
Chase was the game. Burrow
yeah,
Chase was our offense.
yeah. But what I'm saying is that I think that the second playoff game, you're going to see guys behaving, playing more like their normal selves. Now, mind you, the second playoff game is probably going to be on the road.
Yeah,
It's probably going to be against a much better team. These Raiders, they
might be
were
against the
tough.
Chiefs, right? Is
Might
that
be
right?
against the Chiefs. I don't
Wow,
know. We need John here.
wow.
John's at the game. We couldn't get John at the show. He's at the game.
Yeah,
So, but it is going to be a tougher game. But I feel like they're going to play a little looser, you know.
yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. And
I am too.
yeah,
Hats off to Lou Anaromo for some
yeah,
really wonderful defensive play calling. I'm guessing he does the defensive play calling. I don't know. But, anyways, whatever it is, the defense looked spectacular, looked marvelous. Hats off to Callahan The offense
Yeah.
was pretty great. I did not like the play calling. I'll be honest with you, in that last drive where we actually had the ball and they ran for it on first down. Dumb.
Right.
They knew that we were going to run for it. Why do that? And then they did that strange Jamar Chase run. Do you remember that? Jamar Chase is
Yeah.
like, that was dumb.
Yeah.
And then you're at third and like 11. What are you going to do? They tried to do a short pass. It's too late at that point. They could have finished the
Yeah.
game right there and saved us all some
Right.
heart medication. But that's fine.
Yeah.
You live and you
Yeah.
learn. It's a young team. It's a young coaching staff. But still, hats off to them, and hats off
Yeah.
to Marvin Lewis for
Right.
giving us all hope back in 2015. But the main
Yeah.
hat, I've taken 3 hats off. But beneath each of those hats was a hat. And
Oh.
now I have this other hat beneath this, like Russian dolls.
When do we
And
get
now
to
I
your
have this
bald
other
head? How many more
Well, I wear
hats?
a lot of hats because I'm bald. And now beneath
Yeah.
that last hat is the hat that I take off for Zach Taylor. Congratulations, Zach.
Right.
If
Yes.
this was your plan to lose one season so that we could get Joe Burrow and win them all after that, then
Great plan.
I love you.
Yeah.
And whatever it
It
is,
was a
you're
great
doing
plan.
a great job.
Yeah.
I like Zach. I am with
Well,
Zach. I knew.
let me ask you. Well,
I knew
so
Zach. I knew Zach was my coach. You want to know when? When we had that horrible season and he beat the Steelers with Ryan Finley. That's when I
true.
knew I loved
That was
Zach.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
What were you
Well,
gonna say?
you obviously have a career in football, and I don't know if you know, but I also have a career in professional football.
That's how we
I sold my own merchandise, Bengals merchandise, in the stadium.
illegally.
It was actually it was manufactured in, I don't know what you call them, workshops,
Sweat,
labor shop.
not
No, not the
work,
sweat.
sweat
They weren't.
shops.
Well, they weren't as sweating enough
Child
actually,
labor,
but they weren't as sweating as much as I would have
child
liked.
labor
But right, and I got to
in
rub
the
the
parking
elbows.
lot, out of a
Right.
van,
Well,
getting arrested 3 times. Should I say more?
no, but my point is, I thought the play calling worked at times, but in critical situations, I would have liked to see a little more creativity, a little
Yeah.
more aggression,
Right.
and it's we've seen Zach kind of. This was a mixture of what we've seen from Zach throughout the season. We've seen some, early on we saw some games where like, Zach, come on, be more aggressive. Later on, we saw that less.
Right.
And then this game, most early on in the game, he had the right ideas, but I think later in the game, I don't know what happened late in the game, but it kind of a stalled the offense.
Right.
So
But
I
let's
want
enjoy
to
the
see them.
moment. Let's enjoy the moment.
Let's enjoy it. Yeah.
Party, celebrate. If you're from Cincinnati, or if like us, that's true. He doesn't let them drink. That's a good point. But I'm not going to say anything about that. Look, if you are from Cincinnati, great. If you're like us and you're immigrants and you spent most of your adult life in Cincinnati, great. If you've just been a recent or a long-term fan of the Bengals, look, this is all of us. This is a win for all of
Right.
us. This is a moment for all of us. Enjoy it.
It
Save it.
is. It is.
And honestly, thank goodness for Joe Burrow.
Yes.
Thank goodness for
Love
Jamar
him.
Chase.
Love him.
Hate to all the haters who said we should have picked Sewell. And you know what?
Well,
Who they?
yeah. That is actually a question. Who will be the day? What if they win the Super Bowl? It will be the first time there's actually no answer to the question. Or that is a serious question. Because if no football team can beat them, then who can beat them? But
Yeah.
we're not there yet. We'll be in the
It's
Super
a
Bowl
philosophical
a few
question.
more
Who
weeks.
they think going to beat
Yeah.
them Bengals? But
Yeah.
but the second part of that is whenever they play in the jungle, which is not going to be the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, it says where? No, it says where
answers
do
that
they
part.
play? It says where do they play
Nobody.
in brackets? Primarily, where do they play? Primarily in the jungle. Because even
But it
back
doesn't say
then,
it.
yeah.
Says who they think going to beat them Bengals whenever they play in the jungle.
No, where
I
do
say
they play?
nobody.
No,
Huh?
no. It's been a long time. It's been 31 years since you've probably heard the chant. But look, I hear fireworks
they-
around
who
where I
they-
am. People
Who they
were
think
so
gonna
pumped.
beat the Bengals
Yeah,
whenever
and
they
rightfully
play.
so. It is very different. So look, please don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a comment, and thank you to our fans for keeping the show running for
Yeah.
so long. So throughout the hard times,
Right.
and subscribe, turn on notifications, and become a member. You can become a member. You just click join. It's next to the subscribe button.
Yeah.
And you can go to Also, remember to go to Bengals Picks. You can get free tickets. You can get
Yeah.
free tickets. These are very expensive. That is why I couldn't go to the game. It's
And
very
you can become
expensive.
our patron on Patreon. Listen, let me just say one thing. In the comments, I'd love to hear from all of you about when you became a Bengals fan. Was it
Yeah.
preschool, birth?
Yeah.
Was it when you were an adult? What
Yeah.
brought you to this team? I especially want to hear from
And
more
how do you
recent
feel?
fans.
How do you feel now with the relief? And by the way,
I
I
want the
predicted.
new. I want the new
Yeah.
guys. I want the bandwagon guys. I want
Yeah,
this.
they're
I
not.
want
No,
this to be
they're
like
not.
the
I don't
Steelers.
want to call them bandwagon. No, look. A lot of people didn't know the Bengals franchise existed before
Right.
recently because we weren't talked about in the media.
But
So
I want you
they
guys. You're
had no.
welcome
Yeah,
here. The
everybody's
jungle
welcome.
is a welcoming
Everybody's
place
welcome.
to all.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Well, thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And we will see you next time for Dr. Hoji Electric Ismoji. I'm Daddy Maktouk. So long.
Right.
SVT.
Bye.
Peace.